focused on the area of the hips. This tends to be a real problem area for runners especially, so we want to spend some time working on loosening that up. This is a great practice for you to do as soon as you get back in from a run, and it doesn't take very much time at all. So all you need is your mat. Don't need any extra props or anything else. Hopefully you're dressed in something comfortable that you can move easily in, and really prefer to do this barefoot. It allows you to get a little more traction with your feet and also to help strengthen the muscles of the feet and the ankles. So if you're ready, let's go. Okay, so the first position we're gonna start in is a tabletop. So we're gonna come onto hands and knees. We want to place our hands directly beneath our shoulders and our knees directly beneath our hips. To take some pressure off of your wrist, you want to make sure to spread the fingers and get your weight evenly distributed through your entire hand, so not just the heel of your hand. Think about pushing away from the floor, and that will help take away some of that pressure on the wrist. And then all we're going to do from here is draw big circles with the hips. So I'm going to drop back towards my right heel, over to my left heel, and then back to the front. And I'm going to draw a few big circles this direction. And then I'll switch directions, left heel first, just like that. Good, and then stopping right there. All right, so we're gonna come into a down dog. So we're just gonna turn the toes under, push the hips to the sky, and you wanna keep a little bend in the knees here just in the beginning. Arms are nice and strong, ears between the arms. And then I'm gonna have you begin to pedal your feet. So that means I'm just gonna bend one knee and straighten the other. I'm gonna let my hips rock back and forth with that. And this is helping to stretch out through the calves, through the hamstrings. Good, and let's just hang out right there. All right, we're gonna pick up your right foot, lift it up into the air, and then we're gonna sweep it forward and land it right between your feet. So we're in a little bit of a lunge. Then we're gonna carefully drop the back knee and the top of that back foot and lift the torso. And then from here, I'm gonna have you just shift your weight around, in and out, back and forth, just moving around. Good. And then I'm gonna have you place your left hand on the floor. We're gonna take that right hand towards the ceiling. You come into a nice little twist. Let your eyes follow that right hand up. Bring it back down. Let's bring that right elbow to the inside of that right shin, and then take it back up again. Look up, reach up. Bring it back down, elbow touches. And then this time we're gonna add a little bit on. So I'm gonna have you turn your back toes under and lift that knee off the floor. I'm gonna take my right hand to the inside of this right knee, and I'm gonna press it open. At the same time, I'm gonna roll to the outside edge of my left foot and my right foot. I'm gonna open up and look over my right shoulder. Hang out right there, take a few breaths. Good, bring that right back to center. I'm gonna have you press back to your down dog. So press back, and let's pedal those feet out again. Good, pick up the left leg, and we'll do the same thing. Sweep it through, landing it between your feet. If you can get it there in one step, great. If it takes 5 steps, great. As long as you get there, it's all that matters. And then we're just gonna shift around again. We're just moving around, getting some lubrication into those joints. And then we'll carefully drop the back knee to the floor, the top of that foot to the floor. Good, left hand is going to be reaching, your right hand is on the floor. So we're gonna take a big reach up with that left hand, let your eyes follow it up. And then bring it back down, let your elbow touch the inside of that shin. Bring it up, eyes up, down, touch the inside. This time we're gonna open up a little more, so we're gonna turn those back toes under, lift the knee. The hand is gonna come to the inside of that left knee, and I'm gonna roll to the outside edge of my left and my right foot as I look over that left shoulder. So nice, through the hips. Make sure you're breathing. Good, bring it back to center, and let's step back to down dog again. So this time we're gonna press through both heels. Eyes are looking toward the knees. Making sure you're keeping your abdominals in nice and tight. So I'm not getting this big arch here. I'm gonna pull in and elongate the spine, elongate through the hamstrings. Good. From here, we're gonna be going into pigeon. So we're gonna take our right foot, bring it back up again. This time take it a little higher. Let the knee bend and let your hip begin to roll open. From here, we're gonna sweep this leg forward and through. So shift the hips forward, pull that right knee in towards your chest, and then place that foot on the outside of the left side of your mat. All right, so my left leg is reaching way, way back. If you can get it off the end of your mat, great. So I want to try and square up here. So I'm lining up with the edges of my mat. My hips, my shoulders, all face the same direction as my mat here. And then I'm going to come down a little or a lot, just depends on how you're feeling today. With this front foot, you can bring it away from you if you need a little more out of it. So maybe you bring that foot away, creating a larger angle in the knee. It's a very personal choice. I do not, my knee doesn't love that. So I try to pull it back a little bit and just try to be a little cautious, but you go to whatever level feels good to you. And then again, you can come down and you can rest your head on your wrists, your hands, your forearms, a block if you want to use a block. And I want you to take some nice deep breaths here. Now to take this a little deeper, we're going to lift the torso, we're going to walk it over towards the left a little bit. So you may end up off of your mat for a second. Just open up. While you're here, I want you to walk your left foot back more. So see if you can kind of creep your toes back a little further and get a little deeper stretch. You should feel this hopefully in that right hip, the glutes. Take a few breaths there. And then we're going to come back through the center, lay it back down again as far as you're comfortable. So nice. Bring it back up, place your hands on your mat, spread those fingers, and we're going to press right back to down dog. So press it on the back, and we're going to pedal the feet out again. One side might feel a little different than the other, just till we get balanced out. So let's do the same on the other side. So we're going to pick up that left leg. Remember to open it up and let that hip roll open. And then when you are ready, we're going to sweep that leg through, pulling the knee toward the chest, placing the foot to the right side of your mat. That right leg is going to walk back, making sure the kneecap and the top of your foot are facing the mat. You don't want them turned sideways here. And then we're going to come on down. Again, as much or as little as you need. Remembering too, that front foot at whatever angle feels best for you. And squaring those hips up and the shoulders up. So I'm lined up with the edges of my mat. Take a few breaths. Think about trying to breathe into the hip joint. So I'm not just stopping my breath here in the top of my lungs. I'm actually drawing it in and thinking about bringing it all the way into this hip that I'm trying to release. All right, so we're going to try and deepen this a little by walking the torso over towards the right, coming at that little bit of an angle. And while we walk over to the right, we're going to try and creep those right toes back a little bit further. Don't hold your breath. And then we'll bring it back to center. Again, if you're able to, creep those toes back a little further. And then we're gonna come on up, hands to the mat, fingers spread. Let's push back to another down dog. And it should be much better than the one that we started with. So pedal the feet out a little. And see if you can get those heels a little closer to the ground. And everybody's different. Your heels may never touch the ground, and that is totally fine. Our goal is to get them closer to the ground. Good. Bring both knees to the mat. We're going to across the ankles and then roll back to a seated position. And if that's not comfortable, just swing those legs around as long as you get around. That's all that matters. All right, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and try to get through the adductors or the inner thighs. So we're gonna take our hands to our feet and we're gonna work on sitting tall and pressing those knees down towards the ground. So I'm not pushing down, I'm just letting the muscles do the work. I'm letting them press down towards the ground. Again, elongate your spine, make sure you're not rounded over here. Take a few deep breaths. That breath is super important. You want to make sure you're not holding your breath, because if you hold your breath, your body's going to tend to hold on to that tension. So we're going to try to get everything to work together here. Good. Come on up, bring both feet flat. We're going to extend those legs out in front. So go ahead and take them all the way out. We're going to come for a nice seated forward fold. So we're going to inhale, reach up. And then as you exhale, think about reaching out past your toes and then come on down. If you can't quite get to your toes, just reach wherever you can, maybe your shins, your ankles. If you can't get to your toes and you'd like to go a little further, you can always grab a yoga strap or a dog leash or a robe belt, anything you have handy, and you can put it around your feet and give yourself a little extra pull there. So there's all kinds of things you can use. You don't have to have actual yoga props. It works just fine. Good, bring it back up. I'm gonna have you take your right foot and place it on the outside of your left knee. I'm gonna come at a little angle here so you might can see better. So right foot is crossed over. It's flat outside that left knee. I'm gonna take my left arm, I'm gonna wrap it around, and I'm gonna pull this knee in towards my chest. So automatically I should feel a little bit of a stretch on the outside of the right hip. With that, I'm gonna take my right hand behind me, and I'm gonna sit into a nice tall twist. So sitting nice and tall, see if you can look over your right shoulder towards the back wall. As I look over, I'm going to continue trying to pull my knee in towards my chest so that I can get a good stretch on the outside of that right hip. Just hang out right there, enjoy it. Good. Unwrap that, let's bring it back, and let's take that right leg out, and we'll switch, bring the left foot outside the right knee. That right arm wraps around. I'm gonna pull the knee in toward my chest, starting to feel a little stretch on the outside of that left hip, and I'm gonna sweep that left arm around and look over the shoulder. So again, I sit tall. As I pull, should get a nice release there. Back to center and take those legs out. So we're now going to move onto your back. So let's come on to the mat and we're going to roll it down nice and slow. So hands behind the thighs. Go ahead and roll it down nice and slow. Before we go any further, I'm going to have you just tuck those knees into the chest and rock it out gently. Nice stretch for that lower back. Place both feet flat on the floor. All right, so we're gonna go into an old school figure 4 glute stretch. So you're gonna take your left ankle, cross it over your right thigh. You're gonna reach through, right hand outside, left hand goes through the middle, and we're gonna reach behind the thigh and interlace those fingers and draw those legs in towards your chest. And your head is just resting. If you would like, from this position, you can extend your right leg, flex your foot, and get a little extra hamstring stretch as well. And just hold right there. Take a few breaths. Good. We're going to release that right foot down to the floor, but don't uncross those legs yet. Hands are going to come out to the sides, palms down. So keeping those legs just like they are, we're going to drop both legs to your left. So drop them over. So now my left leg is on top. So I'm going to use it to gently add pressure to this right leg to draw that right knee closer to the floor. So where you should start to feel that, it's going to move around a little bit to more of the side and front of your hip, which tends to be kind of a hard area to get to. So it should feel pretty good. I always tell everybody too that a little bit of tension is okay, pain is not. So hopefully you can differentiate between pain and discomfort. Discomfort is okay. Sometimes it means it's something that we need a little more of. Pain is a sign that you need to back off. So we don't want to have any pain, but a little bit of discomfort is okay. We're going to very slowly bring it back to center and we're going to uncross. So same thing on the other side. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. We're going to reach through, interlace those fingers behind the left leg, and then pull it in towards your chest. Again, if you'd like to get a little extra hamstring stretch, extend that left leg, flex your foot, pull your toes towards you. Keep breathing. Good. Release that foot down. And then we'll do that twist. Arms come out to the side. We're going to drop both legs to the right. And so now my right leg is on top of the left and it's pushing my left knee closer to the ground, as close as is comfortable for you. If you want a deeper twist, you can even turn your head and look down your left arm. And again, moving to the side and maybe a little bit into the front of this hip, up into the oblique muscles. Good. Carefully bring it right back to center. Uncross those legs. So we're going to do one more thing while we're down here, and we're going to do what's called Happy Baby. And it's great for the adductors, which most of us tend to be fairly tight through there, and we don't realize it. So we're going to take both feet to face the ceiling. We're going to take our hands to the insides of the arches of the feet. And I like to start with a little rock. So I'll just kind of rock it side to side. What I'm trying to do is keep my shins perpendicular to the floor, pressing the bottoms of my feet towards the ceiling, pulling with my hands. And then after I've rocked a little bit, then I'll find a nice grounded position here. I would like for you to think about getting your entire spine on the floor. So what that means is I'm not letting my tailbone roll up. So I'm touching from the top of my spine down through the middle, all the way down to the bottom to the tailbone. And then I'm going to press downward with the hands. You should feel a nice stretch in those adductors, the inner thighs here. Breathe into it. I'm going to make sure you're not holding your breath. I know you're going to hear me say that a million times. Just give me about 3 more breaths here. Good, and then release those feet flat. We're just going to windshield wiper the knees, so you can bring the hands out to the sides if you like. And we're going to drop both legs to one side, and then pick them up, both legs to the other. Just take that back and forth a few times. Good. Bring it back to center. Drop those knees into each other. Feet are out wide on the outside edges of your mat. I just want you to take a moment here. Just take a moment to take a few breaths. And then we're going to carefully bring ourselves back to a seated position. So we'll roll to your right side, nice and easy. Take that left hand to the floor. Gently press yourself back up. Find a comfortable seated position. You can come across the legs. You can sit on a cushion or a bolster or anything that you might have. Just take a moment here. Good. We'll slowly begin to open the eyes. And I really hope that this practice has helped to loosen up some of that tightness you might have in your hips and your hamstrings after all of that running that you're doing. Or maybe you're not running at all and your hips are just tight, and hopefully this helped you. Practice this a couple times a week, especially after a run or a workout. It could be on a bike, any kind of workout you're doing, even if you're just going for a walk. This is a great way to wrap that up. So I hope it does lots of good for you, and I hope